Well, hello, everyone. This is Leon from Investing Education Academy. Um, as you can see, I'm here by myself. Brent is traveling. We'll be traveling over the next week. So our next podcast, Brent will be on. So just me. I'm used to Brent handling all this intro stuff. So I'm just going to dive right into the topic. Try to keep it as short as possible. So I want to talk today about why I am uber bullish on cloud computing providers. And those that covers the ones we know, Amazon, uh, Microsoft, Google, and also Oracle. And I'm gonna talk a little more about Oracle and why they are. A lot of people don't really talk about Oracle when they talk about the cloud. But I want to talk about why the cloud's important, and I'm gonna tie it in with AI and why AI could be the holy grail for cloud computing. So taking a step back, we all, like I said, we all know Amazon, Google, Microsoft are the main cloud providers, and cloud just being where companies store their websites, their in-house applications, their forward-facing applications. You know, when you go to something like FedEx and you put in your tracking code, that's a web application that's likely hosted at a cloud provider. Years ago, before the cloud, all these big companies they had what's called on-premise systems where they would buy up a bunch of servers, and then either have those stored in their offices or have them what's called co-located at companies that just basically rent out data center space. This was very expensive, and actually showing my age, as you can see by this gray. In the mid '90s, myself and a good friend of mine, Brandon, we had a company, a tech startup back then. We were building websites, which was all the rage back then. And we actually because we were part of the era, we ordered servers, had them delivered to our house, and then we were going to co-locate or have them stored at a local co-location provider. Basically, it's just a big room where you can rent space to store your server. And we actually ended up not doing this because once we did this, we realized we didn't have the expertise nor the knowledge to actually do this on our own. And that's what a lot of companies are finding out now, right? So to actually run your applications in-house and actually, house these servers, stand these servers up and then administer them is a lot of money, a lot of time, and it's a lot of resources, right? You have to have the tech people on staff to be able to do this. Right. And that's why the cloud is this holy grail for small business, because small business doesn't have to worry about hiring technical support, coders, developers to build applications. They can just go to AWS.com for Amazon or Microsoft Azure for Microsoft, open an account, and you can spin up a server in less than 5 minutes. I mean, the cloud has been a holy grail, right? Now, recently, there's been a bit of a backlash against the cloud because cloud has become, depending on how much data and storage you use, it's become kind of expensive, right? So some people say that the amount of money they were paying for co-location and or storing their servers at their own offices is on par now, or the cloud is even more expensive than that, than what companies were paying. So there's been a bit of a backlash from particularly bigger companies, saying is the cloud cost effective, right? So for big companies, it makes sense, right? They're using a whole ton of, if they're renting a whole ton of storage and whole ton of data throughput, it can be expensive for massive companies, right? But small businesses, mom and pops, businesses like ours, businesses that a lot of you may watching this now may have, small businesses where you don't have the staff to, hire coders, administrators, and the like. The cloud is a godsend, right? And we're not using tons of storage, we're not using tons of data throughput. We're just using enough to support our business. So for I'd say 99% of companies, the cloud is awesome. Like so there was and is a bit of a pushback against cloud for bigger companies because they just have so much data storage and data throughput or amount of data going through the pipes that for them it can be expensive, right? So some of those companies have begun to move back to what they call all-premise or co-locating, right? They're moving away from the cloud, right? And they can do that, right? Because before moving to the cloud, they actually had the expertise in-house, coders, administrators, and the like to actually run their services, right? So that was a bit of a threat to a small threat, but a bit of a threat to cloud providers over the last, say, 2 years. Now, the reason I'm now going to tie this into AI. So the reason AI, I think, is a holy grail for cloud providers is because there is no like small business or even large business that can just one day wake up and say, "Oh, I want to develop a large language model, train this thing, and then deploy it to the public." Doesn't work like that, right? So like companies like OpenAI that's behind ChatGPT, then you have Google's Gemini. They've spent hundreds of millions of dollars to just develop just to develop these what are called large language models or the code algorithms behind it. Then on top of that, most of them have been buying NVIDIA. We all know NVIDIA. They've been buying NVIDIA chips, right? NVIDIA chips cost anywhere from 30,000 to 60,000 for each one single chip. And in order to train these AI large language models, it takes tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. Like right now, Elon Musk, through his company called XAI, he's bragging how XAI either has bought or is in the process of buying upwards of 100 to 200,000 of NVIDIA's chips. Now you do the math. Do, let's say, average 40,000 times 100,000 chips. Whole lot of money, right? And that's the type of infrastructure that's needed to really run this new thing called generative AI, right? And so this is not something that you and I can just do. Wake up in the morning and say, oh, we want to run our own generative AI on our own in-house systems for small business. It does not work like that. It cannot work like that. Too expensive, way too technical, and small business don't have the expertise nor the money to even to manage that, right? And so, literally, the only way small to mid-sized businesses can run AI is through the cloud, right? So there will be no backlash. There will be no like, oh, cloud has gotten too expensive. The cloud is literally the only way 90% of businesses in America can run generative AI and to a larger extent AI in general. So I think this actually future proofs a lot of cloud providers' business. In that, I mean, right now they're talking about, the way AI has been talked about right now is the way the internet was talked about in the mid 90s. It's going to change business, it's going to increase productivity, it's going to increase companies' bottom lines. I even I saw people saying that AI is the greatest, well, generative AI is the greatest discovery since fire. Fire, right? So that shows you the hype around it. And same type of hype that we had in the 90s. Now, the benefits of the internet in the 90s actually didn't show up for about 15 or 20 years, right? Because remember, you had the dot-com, let's say the whole thing started around Netscape's IPO in 1995, which I remember. Then we went through the mid 90s up to about 2001, when the whole market, the dot-com crash happened, everything imploded. It took another 5 years for all that to recover. Then you had the great financial crisis in 08, 09. So it took 15, 20 years for all that mess to happen. But all during that time, the internet was being built out, companies were deploying it, and seeing benefit of it. So it took about 20 years, 15, 20 years for the realization of internet, for the internet to increase profits. It took about 20 years, right? And so the same adage is being applied to AI, saying, oh, it's going to take, a number of years. I personally don't think it'll take 20 years, just because AI, when applied to data, is pretty much instant once you get it set up. Whereas the internet was a whole. I mean, that was actually building out the plumbing of the telecommunications infrastructure in the United States. That's a whole different thing, but kind of similar concept that it took a while to build out. So I think anywhere 3 to 5 years, we'll start to see a really big impact from AI for a large number of businesses in the US. But now back to the cloud providers. The reason I'm bullish on the main ones, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Oracle, is because, like I said, there is no way to do generally, there's really no way to do AI without going to the cloud. In every business, I mean, back in the 90s, people talk about the internet like, why would I need it? They talk about why would I need a computer? Well, fast forward now. Today, every company has a computer, every person has a computer, and everyone's tied into the internet, right? Same thing's going to be same level of engagement, involvement is going to be with AI too, right? So like Apple's talking about moving AI to the phone, right? ChatGPT right now is going through like experiments with a lot of companies, a lot of businesses. They right now have revenue of over almost $3.5 billion just in the last year and a half by everyone's excitement around AI. And then Google has theirs, Google and Microsoft have theirs for businesses, right? So AI is going to permeate just like the internet did across everything we touch. Take a few years, but it's going to happen. That cannot happen without the cloud providers. Again, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and then Oracle. So I'm very, very, very. I was a little worried about cloud business, and actually there was a slowdown of cloud business coming out of COVID. Like everything else, I mean, everything went high during COVID, and everything kind of took a dip. But now we're starting to see a reacceleration around cloud because of AI. Now, Oracle is one I want to make a point about too. Is that we know about the other big boys, but Oracle is one a lot of people don't talk about regarding cloud. But Oracle is a dark horse cloud player. They recently booked almost $100 billion in backlog AI revenue. So what that means is they signed a ton of contracts for AI cloud business that's going to ramp up over the next few years, or maybe over the next year. So a lot of people aren't talking about Oracle as a cloud AI player, but it is. Again, Microsoft, Google, Amazon are the big boys, and then the second tier really would be Oracle. So definitely take a look at Oracle, and definitely take a look at the main three cloud providers too. A lot of you may already own them. I own all of them except Oracle. But because of my bullishness around cloud, I'm going to be adding to those positions, to those cloud providers that I own, as the prices pull back. So just want to make that point about cloud and AI, and how I see AI being a huge boon to cloud providers. And they've even said this themselves, right? I mean, like I just said, Oracle has seen almost $100 billion in revenue that's coming down the pike. Microsoft, Google are seeing similar things. Amazon, same similar things. So, oh, and this last point, to show you how powerful cloud is, even before AI is really taking off. So right now, Amazon is I don't know, $200 billion company or something like that, huge in revenue. But I think it's like 90 to 95% of their profits come from AWS or their cloud service, right? So everyone thinks of Amazon mainly as the e-commerce, which it is. It's the largest. I think it's the largest employer in the U.S. now, and or the largest retail in the U.S. Right, or right there with Walmart. But a lot of people don't know 99% or 90% of their profits actually comes from their cloud business, AWS, Amazon Web Services, and not the e-commerce store. And this is before AI has really taken off. So something to think about. If you don't own the big three and then Oracle cloud providers, maybe look at them. If you do, maybe look at adding to your positions on pullback is which I will be doing. Yesterday was a huge downdraft in the market. It was down 2%. Today it's recovered, I think, almost all the losses from yesterday. I didn't. I wanted to add some this morning, but I got busy and I didn't get a chance. So I missed the drop yesterday. But like I said, I definitely will be adding to those positions in the future on pullbacks. For me, and I look for pullbacks anywhere from 3 to 5% before I actually make an addition to a current position. Okay, so that's it. Like I said, Brandon's traveling. He'll be back when we have our next podcast in 2 weeks. Like I said, check out those stocks, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and then the fourth one is Oracle, the one a lot of people don't really talk about when it comes to cloud. Check them out too. I'll use two stock picks, which I will post inside of our membership platform today. And as usual, any questions, thoughts, comments, I'll reach out to Brent or myself. Excuse me. And we will see you back here in 2 weeks.